Hey, you made it. Come on in and join me. I'm Angela, and this is me making sense of myself. I'm super glad you're here. If you haven't done so yet, hit the subscribe button so you can follow the adventure as it unfolds. And if you love this podcast, share it with your friends. You have the capacity to understand yourself, and that's through connecting with and understanding other people. It's Friday, and that means it's time for the Frittity, or the Friday Ditty. I'm going to share with you a parable about this week's topic, From Annoyed to Empowered, along with explaining what happened inside of me. So let's get to it. Once in a bustling town, there was a young woman named Lily who seemed to carry the weight of the world on her shoulders. Every day she would walk through the town, her face etched with frustration and annoyance. One day, as she sat by the town's tranquil pond, she noticed an old gardener tending to the most beautiful garden she'd ever seen. The gardener, with a steadfast and peaceful aura, moved gracefully through the garden, tending to each flower and plant with care and patience. Curious, Lily approached the gardener and asked, "How do you maintain such a vibrant and harmonious garden?" The gardener smiled and replied, "It's not about controlling the plants, but understanding their needs and nurturing them with love and patience." Intrigued, Lily asked, "But what about when things don't go as planned, when the weather's harsh or the plants don't grow as expected?" The gardener chuckled and said, "That's when I remind myself to shift from annoyance to empowerment. I adapt to the circumstances and find new ways to nurture the garden, knowing that challenges are simply opportunities for growth." As Lily listened to the gardener's words and observed the garden, she felt a shift within herself. She realized that much like the gardener's approach to the garden, she too could approach her life with patience, understanding, and a sense of empowerment. From that day on, Lily embraced the challenges that came her way, knowing that they were opportunities for her growth and transformation. One of the very first things I want to say is that annoyance is a normal human emotion. You see, I used to think that so-called bad feelings were things I was supposed to avoid at all costs and most definitely not talk about. Even so, they're part of our common humanity. One of the challenges I had was thinking my plan was the plan. So when things came up that I didn't think should come up, I would get annoyed. I would blame the people or things for this feeling of annoyance. I think it's a bit like stress. I had this idea I wasn't supposed to get stressed or annoyed, so then I would get upset with whomever, whatever, interrupted my peace. This belief was not helpful to me or those around me. Physically, I would tense up, my heart rate would increase, and I would overall feel uncomfortable. And remember, I was blaming other people for my feelings. I looked up on ChatGPT what some common triggers were because I could only think of one, and it gave me a list of 5. Number 1, unmet expectations. Number 2, repeated interruptions. Number 3, inconsiderate behavior. Number 4, noise or discomfort. And number 5, uncertainty. While I agree with all of these things, I think number 1, unmet expectations, encompasses them all. What I'm really trying to point to is that the sensation of annoyance happens inside of you if you are the one who's annoyed. And it is datum that informs you that something may need to change in you or around you. At the same time, I think that just because these things happen and I get annoyed doesn't mean that I need to become despondent and simply accept what's happening. The annoyance could be informing me of something important, and I think the feeling of annoyance can be a catalyst to empowerment if I'm willing to look at what my body and my environment are trying to tell me. When I take responsibility for my feelings of annoyance, then I can shift. This is part of becoming self-aware, or knowing how your emotions impact you. When you recognize how your emotions impact those around you, then you're utilizing emotional intelligence. When I'm taking responsibility for what's happening in me, then I have this sense that I feel capable of making decisions and choices that will make my current circumstances better. Being empowered also means that I take initiative to make the necessary changes. For instance, if there are loud noises, I will get up and leave the room. Annoyed to empowered. If you're like me at the beginning of my disability journey, I didn't think I was able to do anything about or in my situation. Looking back, I realized that I took little steps, the steps I felt capable of taking, and luckily I had people around me who recognized that was all I could do, and they simply loved me. If you're struggling with annoying things in your life, I'm going to invite you to look for the small ways in which you're empowered to do things. It might be as simple as getting out of bed to get food or take a shower. Sometimes that's it. I invite you to celebrate those wins no matter how small you think they are, because there are some moments in life that are just hard. Feel free to use this platform to share your empowered moments. I will celebrate you. So listen in to learn the ways to find your power, brighten your days. From annoyed to empowered, it's quite a shift. Keep tuning in and uplift your life script. Like, share, and comment below to let me know what topics you'd like me to explore next. Remember to subscribe to Me Making Sense of Myself for weekly doses of information and self-discovery. If you have a question, send it over. I'll answer it. Let's do this together. I'm Angela, and this is me making sense of myself.